Time for the evening news. Hi, welcome to the evening news. I'm your host for tonight, Catboy Kunhua. In the news, today was National Cheese Pizza Day. Also, for the lactose intolerant, it's known as the National Mild to Severe Abdominal Distress Day. And of course, tomorrow will be National Violent Diarrhea Day.
Oh, you guys are in collusion here.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Last week, Fox News found out that former Cosby actor Jeffrey Owens was working in a grocery store, and they openly mocked him for his fall from fame. It's rather odd that Fox News would explicitly job shame a lower wage worker, showing open contempt when you consider that such earners make up most of the base of Fox News viewers. It causes people to ask, where are most Fox News hosts going to be working 10 years from now? Halloween sales started early this year as retail outlets say the ninja costume is making a surprise comeback, with partygoers relabeling it the source for the opinion editorial for the New York Times. During heated trade talks, Donald Trump bragged that he could cause the ruination of Canada. After this comment, Canadians demand to know, does this mean Donald Trump intends to run for Prime Minister? Ontario Premier Doug Ford attempted to cut back municipal districts from Toronto from 47 down to 25. His attempt was thwarted in the courts yesterday as they ruled against it. 3 hours later, Doug Ford responded by using what many call the nuclear option, the notwithstanding clause, to overrule the courts. This is the very first time this power has ever been used by a provincial minister, as it was created only to be used in times of war. And it can actually overrule fundamental rights such as freedom of assembly and freedom of speech. After that, Premier Doug Ford said he intended to use the notwithstanding clause to ram legislation down everyone's throat every single time the courts attempts to rule against him, which caused Ontario people to ask, are you sure Donald Trump is not running for Prime Minister? Sure. Looks like he's already here. Okay, never mind. During a rally in Montana, Donald Trump told supporters that it will be their fault if he gets impeached. He's blaming them. He went on to explain that he and the Republican Party only passed 2 laws last year, one of them ensuring that mentally ill people can get a hold of firearms, with Montana specifically in mind. Now get out there and start purging, you crazy bomb shack recruits bastards. Up next, this week in the White House, Donald Trump is still obsessed with finding out who the source is for the opinion editorial that was published in the New York Times last week. But Trump is being counseled by John Kelly to let it go. And Kelly suggested to Trump that he should put himself at ease. Trump should watch Fox News and Friends, while the rest of the White House staff get busy shredding all their examples of their handwriting and watch YouTube videos on how to beat a lie detector test. The idea of submitting the entire White House staff to a lie detector test was actually endorsed by Vice President Pence, who said that he would gladly take the lie detector test in a heartbeat, which he added he has at least once every 3 minutes. Two, if mother's wearing low-cut socks. By the way, mother is what he calls his wife because, I don't know, he's weird, fucked up, who knows? Just does. Anyway, in the meantime, WikiLeaks claims it has cracked the mystery as to who the identity could be of the op-ed writer by examining the writing style of the article. And they say, based on their statistical analysis of the language used in a New York Times anonymous op-ed, the author is likely to be an older conservative male. Well, that solved that. An older conservative male in the White House staff. Who would have known that? Well, you think you narrowed it down to half. Yeah, that really... Okay. And finally, Bob Woodward. Bob Woodward's book is released today, his insider look into Trump and the White House. The book is titled Fear. In the book, many White House senior officials claim they have taken it upon themselves to rein in Donald Trump's worst impulses. How they get worse than what we've seen, I have no idea. But as former economic advisor Gary Cohen puts it, it's not what we did for the country, it's what we saved the country from him wanting to do. which reminds me of the famous quote from John F. Kennedy. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do to stop me from doing to the country what I did to Marilyn Monroe last night in the basement of the White House. That's the way you wish it wasn't. I'm Catboy.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Catboy.
that's a good wind-up.